again. Well, Michael Caputo is the only person out of 8 people grabbed off the street last week. Not the first time it's happened to him, and interrogated and threatened and all the rest of it. He's the 1 out of 8 that's willing to come on. Oh, my gosh. You know they're listening to his phones. They're listening to mine. That's come out in the news. He just told me a bunch of incredible stuff. I hope he'll say on air. But he's promised to come back soon. He even said that he knew what coming on this show would mean. I just love red-blooded Americans. So, Michael, we got 8 minutes left. You've got the floor. Take over and tell folks as much as you can about what's happening. I believe, though, we're turning the tide against the deep state right now. And the fact that they've been caught in all this illegal activity, I believe, thanks to your courage and others, that we're going to win.
I do, too. I think the worm has turned. I think you know it because you see how desperate they are. You don't have to look any further than what they're doing to the people who surround Roger Stone. They're rounding them up like cattle, even people who haven't worked for him or even much talked to him in the last 3 years. There's one character that used to work for Roger some years ago who despises Donald Trump, wouldn't cross the road to put him out if he was on fire. And they went and talked to him as well, staking out his mom's house. I mean, the surveillance that's going on outside the homes of people who work for or know Roger Stone is abominable. I know that's what the FBI does. I know that that's what law enforcement does. But the way they're doing it and the people they're doing it to is unseemly. Unseemly. And the fact of the matter is this. We're at a very strange and dangerous inflection point in this investigation. They've got zero proof of Russian collusion. They're getting people on process crimes. You lied to me about your bag of potato chips. I'm an FBI agent, so now we got you. They're doing that, but now they've realized, and the public is coming to understand, that they've got zero Russian collusion evidence, and they certainly have zero evidence on the president to show that he colluded with Russia. So they're reaching a point where this investigation looks more bogus than ever. And if you know anything about this guy Weissman, who's one of the lead investigators over there, it's when his case looks like it's junk, like he's got a pig in a poke, that's when he overcharges. That's when he overreaches. That's when he hides exculpatory evidence. And right now, unfortunately, at this point in the investigation, as far as I can see, and of course, Alex, you know, I don't have a full perspective of what they're talking about. I'm looking at this investigation through a straw, not a pipe. But from my perspective, at this point in the investigation, when they know they got a pig in a poke, when they're going to be stretching further than they should, they're looking at Roger Stone. And I think they're going to manufacture some kind of bogus and non-existent crime just to drag him in because they got nothing on anybody else. And as you know, Roger's one of your guys. Roger is a very big fish, and they need a big fish to have the fish fry that they're hoping to have. And they're not going to get Roger on Russian collusion because he had absolutely nothing to do with that, but they'll get him on jaywalking or something that they make up out of nowhere, and that's where they're headed, in my opinion. I also got to tell you that while I exposed this week an approach to me by a former United States national security government contractor, he's now telling the media off the air that it was a misunderstanding. You know, he never had anything to do with the NSA, et cetera, et cetera. I want him sat down in front of the DOJ to explain what he did. I'm certainly willing to do it. The president called for an expanded investigation into what the FBI and the other law enforcement organizations are doing with his, or were doing with his campaign. And if they're doing that, then they need to talk to this former government contractor and find out what he's up to. But another thing, Alex, that was not the only approach to me during the campaign. There's another one that I am absolutely banned from talking about by my attorney because it was something of concern to the Mueller investigation. I want that approach investigated too. I want the expanded DOJ investigation to call me. Please call me. I don't care that it's going to cost me more legal fees. I don't care that my lawyer and I are going to have to fly into Washington from Buffalo and incur all those costs, because I know that the people who know that back the president and want to make America great again are ready to back me and people like Roger Stone, because they're trying to intimidate us with the cost of this investigation.
Well, that's what you said during the break. I mean, you said it wasn't off record, but I mean, said it in your own words. You said, I know what coming on your show means. And I guess you're kind of signing your John Hancock pretty big here.
Well, Roger called me up and he said, look, we want you to come on with Alex. And I said, it's going to cost me some money. And Roger reminded me that people are going to CaputoLegalFund.com and donating so that I'm able to speak. And so I just know for a fact, Alex, that they're monitoring this show. They monitor everything I say. I'm sure they monitor everything you say. And that this is going to cost me another visit to the Mueller investigation or another kind. I mean, like the Senate Judiciary Committee is extremely aggressive. It's 100% a perjury trap. They've been trying to force me to come in and talk to them. And after I talk to you, I know that's where I'm going to end up going.
Well,
it's going to cost me another 30, 40 grand.
I understand. I appreciate your courage to go on Fox, to come on here as well, and to talk about what's happening inside and expose the moles, because, you going public has really helped the president now and is really giving him a lot more steam. And so, again, it's true. I mean, you really manned up here, Michael, and so is Roger. But, they're closing the noose in on him, looking for some process issue. Roger, as you know, uses outside accountants. So do I. We all have extremely clean backgrounds because doing this, you better. I mean, you better be as clean as a whistle. And, still, despite that, I know for a fact that they have the FBI follow me around and our securities videotape their trucks out here and their vehicles. We just showed the footage Posobiec got of them harassing people. Tell folks about this truck footage.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if 2 years ago, if somebody told me that there was going to be a surveillance truck with the high technology hanging from its bumper sitting outside my friend's mentally disabled brother's house, I'd have said they're nuts. But my friend was there who actually works for Roger. He's one of his writers, helps him with his content management. And he was visiting his brother, wandering around outside of his house was this white pickup truck. On the front bumper was an MC cell phone catcher. It's called a Kingfish brand, which is a standard brand of the FBI. And if you look at that,
sure, it's a Stingray. It's a Stingray type unit.
Yeah, it's Stingray, brand name called Kingfish. It's the brand that the FBI buys. And on the back of that white pickup is a very unique cap, a surveillance cap that allows people to sit inside and monitor equipment. If you look at this video that Jack Posobiec found, it stops in front of my friend's mentally incapacitated, mentally handicapped brother's house and sits there and tries to listen to their cell phones. And, in fact, was following my friend's mentally handicapped
to harass him, obviously. That's classic COINTELPRO.
To the dog park.
Classic COINTELPRO. Ron Paul's coming up, former congressman, to get into all this. I know you've got to go, but since you've already taken the plunge in here, please come back soon with new developments. But the 30 seconds we have, you're saying what I have with my sources is accurate. This was a major spy network against the president, and a whole bunch more about to come out.
I believe so. And if I've got two, and one of them may be a major coincidence or a complete misunderstanding, but it also might be the key to the kingdom of God. And we need to know every single one of these things. If I've got two, there were 75 people working for the president during his campaign, and
absolutely, Michael Caputo, thank you.